Hello and welcome to the Exchange Art Artist Workshop series. Super excited to be here with one of the brightest people in the space. Honestly, just have loved everything you've done, galvanized community around your artwork and applied all of that back in. I've really loved to see it. The one, the only Neverland. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is exciting, seeing your face again after Lisbon.
Right? I had to wear my Breakpoint sweater for just for you.
I actually had this whole plan of preparing like a shrine for you to kind of just, have your face just displayed here. Because I took some photos of you in Lisbon, which are pretty cool.
That'd be kind of a plot twist if like during this recording
Right.
I was also behind you. We're on to something.
That's spicy.
Very spicy. We're going to start it off pretty not spicy, unfortunately, but there's going to be a lot of spice in your response. There's going to be a lot of spice in your response, I feel like. And that's how long have you been an artist before Web3 even? But like, I kind of want to know just like a brief history of like how you got started as an artist.
So I grew up with a father and a mother who are both artists. They met at theater school. That's how they met.
Wow.
And I just kind of got to see every kind of corner of the industry from a very young age. We have some musicians and painters and actors in the family. And I think that very early on, I kind of attached myself way more to the acting side of things and the music side of things, and only later on I kind of found out about photography and having my first camera, and had some acrylics, so I got some canvases and started throwing paint on a canvas and kind of experimenting with it like throughout the years, but it really comes from home and like painting on my walls as a child. My mom's didn't care. She told me, this is your room, you can do whatever you want with it. And it was the ugliest room in the world because I was like, 6 years old, and I used to paint like all over the walls with like disturbing stuff. But it was very from just the very beginning, and it comes from home, so it's something that I'm very like. This is kind of like that's my normal thing. Like I wake up in the morning, drinking coffee, I have a canvas next to me, I'll just paint. I wake up in the morning, I edit some stuff. That's kind of a normal day to day to me.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear that it kind of has just been fostered in you from such a young age, right? I think that that's really special. And like, I got the pleasure of meeting your parents in Lisbon, and I could see that like, not only like, are they there with you, but they're engaged, like sometimes when you bring your parents to stuff, they're like, whatever, we're here to support you. But no, they were in conversations with everyone. They were like actively listening to what everyone had to say. It was really special to see that. And I can tell that like that home is very important to you.
Yeah, they're very supportive. I mean, they're the biggest reason that I am where I am today. And kind of seeing them, like they know what I'm doing, in Web3 and NFTs. They might not know the specifics, the terms, fully understand what it means. But still, after I brought them to that event in Lisbon, like we went outside and I was like, do you understand now? Do you like fully feel what I feel every day when I get to hang out with all these incredible people? Because I really feel like I found a community of like-minded people that I thrive in. And I appreciate that so much because I did not have it before, although I grew up in the industry. But growing up in the industry of art is so much different than what we have here. So kind of seeing them engage with everybody, that was just like wholesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think that like that relationship to wanting this like really like homey feeling has kind of made you kind of start to craft a really special place with the communities that you build. It's like it feels like
Mhm.
you're walking into a living room when you go into like a Soul City radio show. You know, it's like you're gonna get bullied by Auntie Neverland. Like you're gonna have to get over it. You know, like that's just part of the family. But I think that I see a lot of parallels within that.
I love that. I love that you say that because I feel like, in terms of how I've been building the community of my collectors, the Neverlanders, and Soul City Radio, and everything that I've been a part of, one of the things that makes it joyful for me, I can not have a phone, not have a Twitter, not have a whatever, and I'll still be making art. I'm here for the community, you know. And I think that one of the things that just makes it much more fun for me is feeling at home and kind of bringing that experience and creating also kind of like a safe space for people, which I feel like I don't know, I didn't have before. I came into the space. There weren't a lot of Twitter spaces around purely art and connecting with people, more kind of like chill spaces, and that was boring for me. I did not want to wait 3 hours in line just to say my damn freaking elevator pitch and get it like next. Like I don't want
Yep.
that, right? So I think when I look back and kind of like what I had as my goals in the beginning of my journey, and I look at what I have achieved up until now, like 100%, like I created a home for people, and I hope that everybody knows that this is also my home. You know, it's not just me. Oh, I'm doing this for you. You better pay up. No, it's also my home. It's something that I nurture because I thrive in it and I feel comfortable being here.
No, I couldn't agree more with that. Um, I'm curious on when you first discovered like what the hell are these NFT things? You know, you were already kind of in the world of
Hmm.
creating art, and then like what sparked that interest? And then a follow up question to that is, how long into that journey were you like, oh wow, like this community thing, like this community, like building a community thing is like really important.
Yeah. Um, I think it was around the end of the pandemic. And I was flying out to Mexico for a family vacation, and I was like, and we wanted to make it really long. Like okay, we're gonna be there for like a month or two, or how much time they will let us stay there.
Yep.
Um, just to kind of be like, okay, there was a pandemic. Now we're gonna not be at home for a while and let's just have fun and do whatever we want. But I was like, I can't really go through a week without doing anything. Let me try and find maybe some work that I can do online, maybe edit photos for people on Fiverr or whatever it is. Um, that is when I came across NFTs and started Googling what is an NFT. And I was like, what? I don't understand this. I was like, wait, let me Google, can I sell my photography as an NFT and stuff like that. Didn't find many marketplaces, didn't come across any groups or communities. My journey in the NFT world started in Ethereum doing community management for PFP projects to kind of learn the terms and how everything is, how it goes. Um, then on Twitter, I found a few Solana photographers, Hyro and Patrick, which are two co-founders of Soul City Radio. Later on, found out about John and Greg Ashley, and I think that is where I kind of like, okay, this is Solana. Okay, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And my first ever two minted pieces was a part of two initiatives to raise funds for Ukraine. And that was the moment that I was like, oh shit. Like these people are here. They're creating art. They're also use their art to do these like incredible things. I want to be a part of it. At the beginning of my journey, I said yes to everything, to take part of everything. And now I'm so swamped. Like I have so many things to do. Sometimes I have to say no, but I try to say always yes, because I want to be a part of this community as much as I can.
Yeah, it's really such a cool feeling when you're like, I don't know, that like aha moment. You know, it's like, oh wait,
Hmm.
like that's what like you hear the word community, you hear it everywhere, but as soon as it's
It's
like
thrown around.
like when you
Hmm.
actually feel it, it's like that like wow moment. I definitely had that
You have
myself,
a
and
few
it's
moments like that. You have a
yep.
few moments like that in your journey. Like for me, that was the first one. And then getting into deep conversations with Jairo, a guy from Florida that I don't know shit about, but like we're talking, like if you look at our conversation, I actually went through our DMs early on, like the first few weeks that we talked, like we talked about some deep life shit, and like we both kind of have the same vibe slash goal kind of with our photography, so we really kind of connected on that as well. But that these kind of conversations, real conversation with people that I do not know, that are only kind of like common thing is art, that we're here for the same thing, that these moments are also like whoa. Lisbon was a whoa moment. Whoa, okay, this is what we're
Yep.
doing here. This is like totally real.
Yep. Yeah, I think the more we can try to keep having those moments too, the better, right? It's like
Hmm.
uh I've been in the space now for almost like we're around 2 years, and it's like I want to keep falling in love with it, right? So like I have to
Hmm.
keep putting myself in positions where I have those moments. Like Lisbon again, totally was one of those moments all over again. It's like, aha, yeah, this is why. I was like, I remember now,
Yeah,
because it's not that you forget, but like there's so much always happening in this space. So to go back
yeah,
to that core and to go back to your words, home feeling. You create this home that you can live in within this crazy world. And I think you just keep adding to it with all of these like little aha moments of realization. So I really like your
yeah.
viewpoints on that.
I definitely feel like there's a lot and it's really hard to keep up. And also it becomes our routine and it's easier to take that for granted, whether you do or you don't. But these moments are definitely like, ooh, okay, this is why I even started this whole thing. This is why I'm here. And it's good to get reminded of that.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about your photography and kind of like
Ooh.
you said that you kind of simultaneously were falling in love with different mediums of art. But I want to
Mhm.
hear about like where that real uh, like like want to make that your primary like focus, because I know you're a multidisciplinary artist, but you kind of came in first with like photography strong, right, and wanted to like really kind of build that community up with you. So I'm just curious on like kind of how that
Yeah.
decision making went. I think it's good for multidisciplinary artists to hear like how that decision making goes.
Yeah. I think that at the beginning it wasn't much of a decision of like, oh, what should I do as an artist that uses NFTs or whatever. Like it was like for sure photography. That is what like even interested me like in the it's like I found out along the way, or like in terms of like acting and music, that is something that is kind of like more personal. That my journey here is kind of like also an investment in my future pursuing these kind of careers. Um, but my photography will always be my main kind of thing. I've been blessed with a community that is so open to experiments, and I was nervous kind of listing some stuff or like sharing some stuff, but the response like all the time was just like, dude, that is so sick, like oh my god, and I'm like, oh my god, let's keep going, let's keep experimenting. That also sparks something for other people, that makes other people think, and also shows them that it's important and it's okay to try something new. um but my photography, my whole life before Web3, it was also kind of like my most like therapeutic activity that connected me with my friends who model for me. And it also gives me, during a photo shoot, I get so many like like a huge adrenaline rush, and like climbing on walls, like getting on the floor, getting all dirty, climbing on the roof. I gotta get this shot from this freaking angle, and I'm gonna climb as high as I need to, and I'm gonna knock some security guards. I don't fucking care. I need this shot. My photography revolves around human connection and trying to show, the world that behind these, behind fancy clothes and bright colors, there's a human behind it. And all the photography that I put out there is all in black and white for a very simple reason, is that I feel like it highlights the expressions, of the human body, of my models' faces. And, I've been blessed with a lot of hot friends. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it. Like, my friends are pretty damn hot, pretty damn spicy. But the fact that I have this kind of connection with them, and then I do a photo shoot with them, that is where our connection becomes like otherworldly. Like, it becomes like, what is happening? Like, we're in our 20s, we're supposed to be shallow, we're supposed to be talking about shopping online and our nails and our Starbucks. Like, we're not supposed to be connecting in that kind of way, yet it happens in the process of creation. So, people don't know the models and my friends, and I wish I could bring them to Web3, and I'm still trying. But it's kind of like a 50-50 when we go into a photo shoot, because they have to provide something, they have to tell me something, they have to open up, verbally, physically, whatever it is, and I'm just there with the camera.
Absolutely. It comes across really strong in your artwork, and I love the way that you kind of spoke on why black and white, right? I think that's very true. I feel the same way with like a lot of my street photography too. It's like I love to make sure that I'm getting these like really contrasting colors, and like whether it be the way that the light hits like a bicep or an arm, or like the sides of cheeks. I just think that all of that comes across really special in black and white, and it's cool to hear the thought process that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, I tried editing in colors, but somehow the experience that I had while doing the photo shoot, talking about, every photo shoot for me is a conversation, a physical conversation, a spiritual conversation, a verbal conversation. There's so many layers that goes into it. I don't know, I kind of feel like when I put the colors on, I'm kind of like distracting myself and kind of like swaying away like the viewer, the receiving end, from like what I intended to show. In a way, I feel like it's sometimes distracting. And when you go and you like look at all of your photos, you pull your memory card, you plug it into the computer, and you kind of go and start to see what you want to edit. Like, my first thing that I do is that I just put a black and white simple preset that I made just quickly to see if it hits or not, and move on. And then those black and white photos, that is what I take into editing and then start working on it like individually. But yeah, it just makes it so much, it's pure, and I love playing with clarity a lot, and kind of trying to not touch the skin. Like, if there's, something on your skin that you don't like fine, but that's a human skin. That's reality, no need to hide that.
Yeah, I think that your images do a really great job of that, and I think that conversation that you have comes across very well. So I'm excited to see where you keep pushing yourself creatively and conceptually, because it sounds like you don't go into it too like trying to force a concept. You kind of create it with a conversation in real time, which I think is something that not all photographers do, right? Sometimes they go in and they really try to make their idea be exactly what happens. But like that kind of discounts like the other side of it, right? That conversation with the model.
Yeah, I think that with every kind of like, style of art that I create and I put out there, um, and I wrote it in a thread, I think, that I was like, I'm not doing, like, my job is not to explain to you what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to achieve. My goal is to stop at 50%, the other 50 is yours. The, art, by definition, is the quality of communication. The communication is the most basic thing that happens between, the minimum is two people, right? I have to give my half, you have to give your half. That's how we're going to meet in the middle. That is how we're going to understand each other or not understand each other. We can agree and disagree. So I feel like, um, when I look at my art, I look at it and I have, I look at a photograph and I'm like, okay, this is what it means to me. But like, let me try to create a more kind of like universal template so people can kind of fill in their name, their loved one names and their hobbies, and kind of create this whole kind of like, think of my photographs and my art as kind of like Mad Libs type of situation where you put yourself in it. That is yours. That is yours to make of it whatever you want to make of it. I'm gonna give the initial, ooh, ooh, bless you,
We
bless
made it.
you. But yeah, just gonna try and create a universal template so other people could fit themselves in the situation, because I feel like I also, it's very relatable. Honestly, anything that anyone will ever talk about is pretty relatable, because like what's happening to me has happened to millions of people before, happens to millions of people now, and will happen to millions of people, 10, 20 years from now. Um, so yeah, that's kind of like what I try to make out of it.
Do you think that 50% that you kind of like that you're kind of mentioning stopping at for the viewer to kind of put in the rest? Do you think that
Hmm.
that has kind of helped your photography? Because something I have heard from collectors, and I would love your opinion on it, is that sometimes photography could be too literal. It's like there's not
Hmm.
like I think that's why it's harder for some people to understand photography off the jump versus an illustration or versus something. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, that's a picture of a landscape or a person, but when you add this extra element of like, but figure out what else there is. I'm curious on your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I've never actually thought about it before because, dude, that's a no, that's a genius. I feel like sometimes with photography, you can literally feed someone with a spoon, you
Yeah.
know? And it can
Mm-hmm.
be, it can relate to any kind of art form, but when we're talking about photography, I feel like photography is just a much harder medium, especially right now. And like, you don't have to explain everything and anything. You don't have to give out all the details, you know? I agree. There's something about it that, and then it comes to understand it at the end of it, like it comes to understanding that the receiving end has to play a part in it, or I don't know, it wouldn't have the ability or the capacity to have that space to connect with your artwork and with your
Yeah.
piece or whatever it is that you put out there. But yeah, there's something about photography, and it's not photography, it's photographers and what the photographers decide to do with their photography. It's not
Yeah.
photography as an art form; it's what you decide to do with it. And I think that if anyone wants to experiment with explaining halfway, there's so many creative ways to do so where you still, make sure that people know this is what it means to me. And it could be a poem. This is what it means to me. I want to know what it means for you. Leave that
Yeah.
open end for other people to fill in the story.
Yep. Make them ask a question or like,
Mm-hmm.
get involved in it. I think is something that I think of it also the same way as writing. Writing can be an art form. It can also be a documentation. And I think that photography is in that weird world where it's both, right? There is going to be these people who have a
Yeah.
very artistic brain that want to try to portray these concepts, and then there's going to be the side that documents more. So it's really interesting kind of to think about it that way. And I think we'll see both do well. But I think that like for like collectors of art, they love to have a dialogue. They love to have like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like they don't want to read just like this is the picture from the Andes Mountains 2016 whatever. It's like they would much rather read like it was a
That's
grueling
a
trek
bonus
through.
detail. That's a
Yes, that's
bonus
a
detail.
bonus
Like
detail.
knowing,
Absolutely.
like you can add that
Yeah.
if you got the space. But I feel like, personally, with my photography, it always has to go with my poetry or my
Yeah.
songs and stuff that I've written throughout the years. And every lowercase letter, every capital, like everything is on purpose. Like
Yeah.
everything has a meaning behind it. And if you have that 50% done, but every single percent has a meaning behind it, why you did it. Why is this all lowercase? What is the title all lowercase? Like, why is it all capital? Why are you shouting it out? What are you taking a space here and then enter here? Like, you gotta have your why behind it, and that 50% will become 100 when people kind of read it. I always say that the description is a part of the piece as the piece itself. As much as the piece itself. Um, as long as you don't like, yeah, I took it when I was just going out of McDonald's and like.
Could be I could see the poem already. Crypto has dumped. Back to my job.
Dude, yes.
The McDonald's
Kind of like a
collection's gonna
goodbye
slap.
poem.
Yeah,
Slap.
yeah. The
Let's fucking
McDonald's
go.
collection hits, you know.
A collab
I want to
series
turn
like
it
Goku and Neverland.
McDonald's around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I want to turn it a little bit to actually first before that. I'm curious on what 3 tips that you would give to photographers who are just like confused on how to build a community around their art and their brand as an artist.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it starts with sharing yourself. Always feel free to share whatever. Make sure you join the right spaces with the right people. Shameless plug to SolcityRadio. Link in the description below. I'm a YouTuber now. And I think that when it comes to your work and when you start listing and through sales, you're going to expand your collector's base. Mint your best. Don't be like, no, I'm gonna mint those and then I'll mint my best so I can save it for later. No. If you're here and you're doing it, you're gonna mint your best. And if you got no other photos, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna take some more photos. You're not, if you're like publicly or transparent or even not, like just for yourself, no, this is not might be like your best shot. Like, that is going to reflect on how you communicate this piece of art to the world. And this is how people are going to receive it. So make sure that you put your best out there and don't be afraid to experiment. Don't kind of be like, I'm saying a lot of don'ts. I'll say a bunch of do's, but don't kind of depend on the archive of photos that exist. I feel like in this community, you have an opportunity to experiment and find kind of new things to do and get it. I know that I got inspired with like her collection that I did. Like, I get so inspired by so many people in this space, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna try something new, you know? Um, it's definitely, I think like it's definitely a struggle, but when you understand that the key for success in this community is the community, okay? The community itself, and you define what success is for you, that is when there's two things that are just gonna flourish into like, oh my god, I'm having so much fun here. Because, I'm on Twitter all the fucking time and it's so much fun. I enjoy it every single day. And that takes some time because it's a balance. You come into this world and you have a lot of perks, but there's a new set of struggles. Your marketing team, your own branding team. It's about finding what is true to you. It's about being as genuine and authentic as you can be, because nobody likes it, when you're being fake or whatever.
Yeah, I think all of that's great advice. You know, it's easy to feel like really lost in this space, and I think that like when you can just have a group of people to like chop things up with, like that can even be just such a
Hmm.
benefit to you as like figuring out how am I going to get started, like how am I going to go about this. Uh, you mentioned Soul City
Yeah.
Radio, and that's exactly where I wanted to go next. Actually, I want to talk a little bit about Soul
Mm.
City and like what it's all about, right? And I know a little bit about the genesis of it. We can touch on that briefly if you'd like, but I'd love to hear more about like what the purpose is and like where you guys see because I know there's a couple founders involved. Like where you guys are putting the focus and energy into right now in this market, because I think you guys have done such a great job at just bringing people together.
Yeah, we've gone through a lot of changes, and a lot of struggles. We started as a space. We didn't find any space for art. We wanted to start one. There was another one for photography. Decided to merge. That's a, kind of like the short story of it. Onboard so many people. They kind of have their own show, existing shows. We built shows for people, and made a lot of like amazing, genuine partnerships with amazing people in the freaking space, which I'm really happy about. Right now, we have gone through kind of like a lot of struggle for the past 2, 3 months with a lot of changes in the internal team. People moving different countries, day jobs, IRL stuff.
Yep.
Right now, our focus is on Hub. We aim to be the umbrella of this community. Everybody are kind of separated. Let's just bring everybody together. So right now, our focus is on the Hub, is to make sure that we bring out content, like quality content. The Hub is the shows. The staple show of Soul City Radio is obviously the Rise Before It Grind show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. EST. It runs daily. We're already 200 episodes in, never missed a day. It's amazing. So when it becomes daily, it becomes a routine. And what we do is that we always try to spice up the structure, bring more interesting people. We started doing live advising sessions for artists that fill me with so much joy. It's so much fun. So that is currently our focus, kind of like enriching all of the shows in our roster and making sure that our partners are all right, joining their shows, kind of just uplifting everybody, being very present, being very like being there. And behind the scenes, we're working on a pretty damn exciting project that we announced, not the date of the drop, but kind of like it's going to be after New Year's. We're dropping the 100 project, which is a collaborative effort between Soul City and 100 leading artists in the ecosystem. Some emerging, some established. Most of them, like 99% of them, we've had on our show. We've connected with, we've made friends with them. So it's all very much, when we started to onboard these artists and, the amount of like, we got yes from everybody, but like after that, yes, it was like, oh my God, yeah, I would love to support you. It's amazing what you do. And that was very early on. I feel like right now we have more attention. Right now, we grew way more, obviously. But it was very overwhelming, and it's just going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to support the artists, which the 100 are the house artists for Soul City Radio. And, our goal is to feature them and everything that we do moving forwards, because they're the reason we are where we are, it's our community. Um, and yeah, so that's a little bit after New Year's Eve. That's going to be something spicy.
Super excited about that. I love the idea
Hmm.
too of just you guys have now been around and doing and providing so much, and like you said, you kind of outreached, and now you're like strengthening where you reached out to, and then
Yeah.
this drop allows you guys to then like put your foot down and like be able to raise a little bit to like do things as a company, which is really awesome,
Hmm.
and also to be able to just like put your core ethos down on paper and like, hey, this is us, we're here, and like we now have done this tangible thing for everyone to collect. It's like before I feel like I've heard people being like, how can I collect? How can I support Soul City Radio? And it's like, oh, you can be here, but now you have another thing to like add to what it is you guys are bringing.
Yeah. And I feel like that, honestly, first of all, it's going to be the most gigantic like art, like fun project on Solana to date. And what we are able to do with the 100 is to create different structures of mini drops within the 100, which means that we'll be able to, first of all, offer different entry points between auctions and additions and buy nows and whatever it is. We're going to, be able to have those different structures will allow us to like keep having fun, because if we were to now like auction 100 pieces like on a weekly basis, like okay, that's something that's been done before, but it's kind of like, how do we maintain such freaking hype? Let's leave some freedom. Also, let's ask the artist, what do you feel like doing? What do you want your piece to be sold as? Addition, a one of one? Do you want to be a part of like these groups that are doing this kind of stuff? Or like, there's so many things that we can do that will make it fun for us, for the artists, for the collectors, and for the community to watch, And eventually, it will be raising funds for the Soul City Radio team, so we can reinvest in the community, reinvest in Soul City Radio, and just keep doing cool shit. So we'll be able to show up here every single day.
Oh, that's really awesome. My head's spinning. I have ideas for umbrellas. I remember you asked me a while back, and I was like, oh wait, I don't know if I have any umbrella photos. And I'm like, actually,
you're gonna have to go out there. You're gonna have to go out.
No, I have something even better. Shoot. I have something it's been in my back pocket for like 3 years now, but I haven't put it out yet. So maybe we'll revisit that. We'll see.
Ooh,
little alpha.
Ooh.
I'll shoot you a DM.
Yo, text it to me. Yeah, 100 umbrellas. That is gonna be amazing.
This is what happens with Soul City, though. You go on, and then you end up getting excited and spilling all the alpha, and I
don't think people understand how many alpha is like leaking in our spaces. Like, our spaces is the only reason I can keep up with any like drops and things that happens, that I'm like, oh my god, I need to be on top of this. Like, I need to be there.
You guys got to have a Soul City calendar person, like that's right. What you need next. Someone to just like mark all the dates and drops.
Just listen and be like, okay, so this is dropping the okay. Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, hopefully it's Degen Poet with his typewriter. That would be even better.
I've been can I just say this publicly? Can I just say something to Degen Poet in this freaking podcast now? Degen, little Mr. Poet, my queen, my hype woman, listen. I've been trying to get you on our show. I promise it will be fun. I know you don't like spaces, but I'm freaking bully you. So just be there. Just freaking be there. We'll be the only one on the speaker panel. We'll just talk about like tomatoes and wine. Whatever you want. That's it. That's my elevator pitch. I'll keep like spamming his DMs.
Throw us in there too, all right?
Come on.
We got to get Degen Poet on here too.
Dude.
It's a must.
And you should come on the freaking podcast with Gogu. Look how much fun we're having here talking about art. Look, there's a bunch of like art everywhere. Don't you like art, Degen Poet? Oh my god.
This is a live view of like what happens at 9 a.m. for me when I tune into Soul City. Big energy.
Exactly. Just me bullying everybody and big energy.
I'm curious on it's not like the most fun topic, right? But like it's something that I think a lot of artists struggle with. And I know that you guys have been doing a lot of shows on Soul City around this topic. But I want to know more specifically towards yourself. How do you view the relationship of marketing your art? Because, and I say relationship because I feel like every artist has a different relationship with how they view marketing their art. But I'm curious on like um,
Yeah.
how do you go about that?
Well, at the start, I hated it. I hated it, and I just had like my notifications on a few people in the space that I felt like, okay, they're good at it, and basically just not copying, but kind of, okay, you have to have the price, and then the link, and you have to have the title, and maybe the description, and maybe you need to make a graphic, and you need to do this, and you need to make sure that you include this, and there's a way that you write it, and like type it, and whatever. And at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this is such a headache. And I think after my Genesis collection ended and I went and I, kind of had a deep dive into my experimental journey in Solana, that is where I started having a lot of fun. Because that is where I was like, you know what? No more long fucking threads for me. Maybe once a month, but like it's time to degen this shit. And also that's when I first met Degen Poet and kind of saw that he's just bullshitting all day. And I'm like, oh my God, I bullshit all day. I thought that this is like a tool. I thought that Twitter is kind of like a tool, just like post your art and this is what it's called and this is what you should know about it. And it's pinned to my profile. Can you like and retweet? That type of like energy, and also me not understanding what it means to be on this kind of platform. um I view it as, and I approach to it as, okay, this is me, this is my fun way of doing stuff. I love doing this, let's make it fun for others. um and also I feel like I'm kind of like evil in my marketing as well. There's something about it, like I was just sent on a mission to annoy everybody and tease everybody about drops and stuff like that. And also blessed to have over like 70 collectors who just love to bullshit with me and love to support me, and I love to support them, and we're just besties, and it's the best thing in the world. Like I'm nothing without that group of supporters and family that I have here. Um, when it comes to marketing, it all comes back to communication, how you
Yep.
communicate your art. That goes back to the why. Why are you here? Why are you creating? You need to make sure that you have your why and that you practice communicating clearly about your art. Sit in your room, put like a camera on, or just record yourself and talk about your art and listen back. How do you sound? Do you understand what you're fucking saying? If you do not, you're gonna have to try again. You're gonna have to write it down, like if you want to practice it, of course, but if it comes down to communication and then to your why, it comes back to who you are as a person. It comes back to being authentic. And then of course that you need to have your link in the second tweet, and make sure that you add to your name that your auction is live, and maybe you talk about some collectors and organize some pre-sales. Like there's so many things that are technical that I would love to sit one-on-one with a bunch of artists, and I also say it a lot in spaces and say these kind of stuff. But if you don't have that foundation of who you are as a person and why you're here and why you're creating and what you're communicating, nothing is going to work for you. Because all of that uncertainty, that not knowing what you're doing here or why you're here, that is again going to reflect in your communication and your art and your marketing and your Twitter.
No, absolutely. I think that's really great advice, and I also love like what like that initial advice you gave of just like go look at what everyone else is doing and like piece together how that could work for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like don't copy anyone because that is lame and
Mm-hmm.
it probably won't work. But if you take a little bit of Neverland, you take a little bit of all of these people that you admire in the space, then you can kind of create like for yourself, like what my approach is. And then I like
Mm-hmm.
also like, it's like, and then once you figure out
Yeah.
your approach, it's like, why you're here. Now you know your approach, go do it. And I think that that's really great advice.
Yeah. I definitely took a lot from Degen Poet, a lot from Hyro. Um, I think that Hyro kind of gave me the not the basic approach, but kind of like everything that I need, and how deep he goes into his threads and art. Like that was for me kind of like a green light of like, okay, I can do that too, like acceptable here. And then Degen Poet kind of offered the contrary, kind of like just like freaking minted and
Yeah.
listed, girl, just like a boom, 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 just like I don't fucking care. Like I'm just minting stuff, I just type all day and I mint stuff, and I love that. So kind of like a merge between the two, and then I had my own space and my own time and journey to figure out, okay, what do I do? You
Yep.
know?
Absolutely. I think that's really great. I think that it's interesting, like how much you learn along the way, right? It's like every day in the space, if
Mm-hmm.
you allow yourself, you can learn something new, right? You can learn a new trick. You can learn how someone else is doing something. You can learn just some crazy technical thing, whatever. Like every day,
Mm-hmm.
if you allow yourself, you can learn something. And I think a lot of people forget that. Um, I'm curious on like if there was one like biggest thing that you've learned from releasing your art on the blockchain, right? On Solana.
Yeah. I'll touch something that we didn't kind of talk about, and it comes to pricing. I found out that I listed my art at a price that was just not right for me, and I thought that I deserved like a lot more, and it made me feel uncomfortable to the point like I can't sleep at night, and like back then I didn't have Phantom on my mobile, so I had to go downstairs on my laptop to like change it and stuff, and that was like I'm not gonna get out of bed at like 3 in the morning. But my point is that you know know your worth, and also know how to build up momentum, how to build up that kind of pricing, because it's a new world. You see award-winning photographers coming into the space and like listing it like 1, 2, 3 like everybody has to start for something, but I freaking
Yep.
encourage photographers who pick their grails to just give it a high damn price, like you know kind of like balance it with how much effort you put into it, how much it means to you. Because I definitely felt like sometimes I was not comfortable with the price that I put out there. Whether the market is bear, whether the market is bull, I learned that like my worth is my worth. You know?
Yep. I think it's something that I think all artists struggle with, especially because we're not used to like doing that pricing ourselves. It's like the first time we've been so involved historically in
Mm-hmm.
pricing our own artwork out in that way, for like and directly with collectors as well. So I think that's really good advice. And like something that
Yeah.
you touched on was like that building momentum. It's like, like sure this goes for people coming over from other blockchains too. It's like sure you might have sold for X, Y, and Z number of thousands of dollars on whatever blockchain, but like you're coming somewhere new, and like you got to look at the overall market. You got to see like
Yeah.
where's the top, where's the middle, and where's the bottom of a specific genre of art, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like then you can make your own decisions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with your art sitting there if you have like that grail. It's like set it high and leave it. It's like if it sells, it sells.
Yeah, I just like I know how much it's worth, and I'm just gonna have it sit there, whether it's for months or years or whatever it is. 1,000 salamis, let's fucking go. But the fact that I minted it, I'm sharing it, like that, it's what it's all about, you know?
Absolutely. I think too, like everyone can play those things differently for themselves, right? It's like you can have a piece
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, maybe I want to push my entire collection up towards that level, or maybe you do it very
Mm-hmm.
incrementally. It's been really cool to hear about so many different artists' approach, and even artists who you think of now as wildly successful. Hearing about how they incrementally raise their prices over time, other than a very select few. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
case. So it's like, slow things down. Don't just look at the guys on the
Hmm.
top 10. It's like, focus on just like what you can control there. And I think good things come.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a broad question for you, and I know the answer already probably. Where do you
Okay.
see the future of art on Solana going? I know you're very involved in the scene and very passionate about it, so I'm guessing it's
Hmm.
going to be mainly bullish. But I would love to hear
Super
like where you
bullish.
see things.
I mean, I think that I do have faith in everything that we do here. My thinking though, my attitude is on the surface level, it's always about like, doesn't matter which blockchain, which is the people and artists, we can create art wherever we are. But I just, I'm just like extremely bullish on everybody who are working day and night to make this community and this technology and all the marketplaces and like all the projects that are on here are so like, oh my god, one-on-one art is like the sexiest thing on Solana. Let's fucking go. I have that kind of sentiment. I see it years forward, we're still doing it, but like it just get bigger and bigger on a larger scale, like this recent year with everybody like putting up galleries all over the globe, like that is such a bullish sign. When everything kind of went down, we were in Lisbon. The Salami peeps were in freaking Lisbon having the best time of their lives. I just feel like this community is just unbeatable. We're strong, we're alive. There's so much that we have to offer. There's so much that we have to discover. So I'm just bullish. I know that like for me, this is the place for me to be. And whenever I want to pursue anything else, I always share with the community and I'll receive all the love in the world. And that's what it's about for me.
I love that. And I want to end us off here with like kind of going back to you, like what is next for
Mm-hmm.
you? Like, what are you really excited about? And I don't necessarily mean like what's your next project, because I think we've already covered that. But like, where
Mm-hmm.
do you want to push yourself creatively going into the future? And I know that's kind of a broad topic, but I always love to hear like where the artist is looking towards in the future, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm right now at a stage of a lot of doing, I'm so kind of like related to the process and the craft. In terms of the future and where I see myself, you know, I just see myself on the biggest stages in the freaking world. Like I cannot imagine a future where I'm not creating. I know that my biggest goal, my biggest passion, is definitely music and being on stage. I feel like I was kind of born to be a performer, and then like all of my family are performers. Like, oh, what a coincidence! No kidding, you're too. Um, but I have so much passion for it, and I feel really comfortable on stage, which is so weird. Like I feel anxiety before I go on stage, and I can literally pass out, and then I'm on stage, and I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Um, so I just see myself being able to share my art with more and more and more and more people in the future on a global scale, you know? And I'm just so bullish. I'm just so bullish and excited for my first few collectors who collected for me like the first 2, 3 weeks that I was in the space. Because 10 years from now, dude, they're like 5, 10 years from now, they're like retiring. They can buy themselves a whole like full island with a pina colada. Like, dude, they're set to go. So high goals for me. But I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I'll always be creating.
I think it's good to have high goals. You know, it's like it's good to set yourself where you have like low, medium, high goals, and that way it's like I
Hmm.
have the thing that I really want to swing for. I have the thing that I know I'm going to accomplish, and then I have the thing that I might have to try a little bit harder to accomplish. It's always good to
Yeah.
have like you know, it's nice to have multiple wins along the way. You don't want to just be like
Hmm.
going up after the big thing, but then being sad because you don't reach it. It's like enjoy the build up there, and I'm excited to watch and continue to support your path to that. You know, I'm excited to see like what clicks next. You know, who knows where it can go when you could have the first NFT talk show. You know, it's going to be Neverland, bullying people in like a pantsuit on live television.
Imagine, right? Kind of like now that like the Ellen show ended, I come back with the
You could be the new
Neverland
Ellen.
show talking about NF. Dude, for real. Dude, I love dancing. I'm a bully. Not saying that Ellen is a bully, but like
I
we got
heard
the
that. I
same
heard that she
vibe of like
is.
being in control. She,
That's a
dude, I don't
that's a
know what to
rumor.
think
That's a
about that.
rumor.
That's a whole different, that's a rumor. That's a whole different conversation though. I don't know what to think about that.
Well, you know, we were gonna get spicy at some point, so here we
Right.
are.
Right.
Well,
Here
I
we are
super
talking about
appreciate
Ellen
you.
DeGeneres.
I super appreciate you being here and like taking time out of your day and your
For
schedule
sure.
to just come and chat with us. Again, like the point of the show that we're doing is like for others to be able to listen back to a little bit more in depth on what you do, how you got there, and be able to pull little bits of it for maybe their own use cases, right? And I think
Yeah.
as this catalog of artists that we keep doing this with keeps getting bigger, I think the amount of knowledge that's going to be in each of these between 45-minute and hour-long videos is going to be really powerful. And I'm excited to see what happens here with just getting this information out to people. You know, it's like, who are the best teachers for the NFT art space? Well, it's the artist, of course. So I'm really excited to be doing these and for you to join
Hmm.
us today.
Dude, I'm so grateful. This is so much fun. I'm always down to have conversations, especially when they're about me and they can help people. No, but I had like the longest dream of like doing a podcast as a young, as like a teenager. So I love the fact that this is like a thing, that we're doing right now. We're so in tune, like besties. We're Gucci. I love this.
Should I get cat ear headphones though? I think that is like
Dude, you
just saying.
should. I'm dying for a setup like yours. That feels very
Well,
professional, but I do want kind of like a headband situation, cat ears, maybe a
I
little
need to upgrade my
mustache that you can just
headphones.
have there.
The headphone upgrade is next, so I'm gonna put cat headphones on my
This
Christmas
is what I
list.
use for spaces.
It's old
This is like
reliable.
absolutely trash because they run out of battery so fast.
I
So
just
fast.
pace around like this. Like my partner's like, why are you just walking around with your phone like this all the time? And I'm like, I'm on Spaces right now. It's like,
Right?
well,
Yeah,
you
because
know,
you're having like
I
we
can't
we
sit
host
still.
like a
Like
daily show. It's 2 hours like every morning. Like you gotta walk.
I'm telling you, like that's
You
been
gotta move
the
yourself.
the biggest challenge for me doing podcasts is sitting still. But I really love it.
Dude, haven't you seen me the whole time? Like I'm like that the whole time. If you do a fast like podcast, I'm just like basically like that.
I should get
Just
like a
moving around.
treadmill. I should get like a treadmill
No, you
underneath
should get one
myself,
of
like this
those
thing.
gigantic balls, like gym balls, where you
Oh
can just
yeah.
like, like that. Spicy.
Special effects.
Special
Oh, this has been so
effects.
much fun.